Hello and welcome to Stephen Allen Almost Daily. I'm Stephen Allen. This is a day. Welcome along. It's Thursday, the Thursday edition. Excuse my slight unsightly appearance. I've gone the Macron. I got there. We are. Not quite. I don't have reflective ones, but I just thought he'd set a scene in that way. I quite like what he's done there. It's a good look, isn't it? Also, the other way in which I'm like Macron is that I don't know if you know this. My wife used to be hairy backside, so should take those off. Anyway, we're up, we're running. Welcome along to Stephen Allen Almost Daily. I already feel like I've forgotten. I can't put them there. That's where the camera looks at the newspapers. I already feel like I've forgotten most things already. All over the shop. Energy drink of the day is going down. We shall be enjoying some newspapers. Before we get there, though, we should start off by saying the comment section is where it be at. That's how the young people say it, isn't it? And so what you can do there is you can get involved. Could you turn up the volume? There you go. There, turn it up. You're right. I did have it a bit lower than normal because I have it lower than normal when I'm recording me all hit radio show. Is that better? Is that better? Coming at you. Is this thing on, mother? Who is here then? Chris was first in the chats. Joodles is here saying bit premature, Chris. There's no such thing. There is efficiency. We live in this world where there is this narrative set that there is such a thing as being premature. Now, by whom's measure? In and out. Job done. Ems is here saying, hello all. I wonder what the aliens have in store for me today. I obviously don't know what you're talking about there because I don't know any of that. Chris is back with his coffee. Joodle says, my bacon, eggs and toast are all about to be magically ready at the same time. That doesn't happen often. No, that's like simultaneously reaching peak at the same time with your partner, which is not what you want. It's not efficient. That's professional planning. You should have been on Bake Off, whatever it's called, Cook Off. Could you turn up the volume? Already done that one. Right, we're up and running. Is that all right? I should be able to check the volume level by my little bars bouncing, shouldn't I? I should have hello and well. Perfect. Lovely. We start off today not with the newspapers. I think we need to do this. The breaking of the news. Breaking news coming at you. Breaking news. Oh dear. UK holds off joining Trump's board of peace over Putin concerns. Just when it looked like everything was all heading in the right direction, maybe we could have some of that peace people used to talk about. No. Look, there are some concerns. Putin might be on this because he probably thinks it's bored of peace. I'm bored of peace too. He's there going like, yes, I'm very bored of peace, please. I prefer it when you can throw people from windows. I do not know why you think I have this kind of accent, man. What is happening with this Ariel under the sea? It started off all right, didn't it? Lost it towards the end there. Join the board of peace. Flip it. Don't make a difference, does it? Just name another group. Make Trump feel good. Board. If you're willing to be in the coalition of the willing, which is the worst name for anything ever, then be in the board of peace. Be in the League of Pillory. Do whatever you've got to do. There's your breaking news. Which actually now means we need to get inside the front pages. For a second there, I did not know how front pages work. Get inside the front pages. Am I thinking of page 2? So let's start off with the front pages. With the biggest news, it's the big hitter. It's the one that shocks everyone. Will it impact everyone? I don't know, but it's the news that will impact everyone across the world in some way. Nigella's going to be on the Bake Off. Oh my God! So I didn't care about this because I don't watch it. No, that's the end of that story. No, I might start watching it now that Nigella's involved. So last night I was on the telly box doing the newspaper review on GB News with Matthew and Nina, and we were talking about this story. We didn't get to talk about it on air, but as soon as the show was done, we chatted about the other stuff, and that's often when you get the good take. And they are both massive fans of Nigella. So much so that Nina was saying she worked with her. And so look, imagine those 3 people that you've got lined up there. And Nina should not be the one going, oh, look at her stay. Not that we men on the panel would do either. If you include Patrick, of course, we know we're far above that. But if anyone is genetically predisposed to be like, oh, Nigella, oh, you wouldn't have thought it would be Nina. But I tell you what, she was a big fan of how attractive, and she's right about this as well. She said they worked together on an ITV thing, and she said you'd find yourself just staring at her because she's so beautiful. And here's the weird thing, Nigella's so used to that because everyone stares at her that she doesn't think it's weird. And in that moment, we all thought, I've never known that. There was just a really depressing moment of being like, oh yeah, I guess if you are that beautiful. I hadn't thought about that before. A really depressing moment. But you know my theory on Nigella. She's slowly having a mental breakdown. Instead of giving her help, we're giving her BBC Two specials. And now we're giving her Channel 4 shows. This is going to be brilliant to watch. She is losing the plot. She used to be like with it and smart. And now she's walking around in her pajamas, putting, banana skins in curries. Not the shop, the food. But still, it's wrong, isn't it? It feels weird. So she's having a bit of a breakdown. Famously, she says the word microwave as microwave. She was doing that as a joke. I don't think that's part of her mental decline. I do think that's what's wrong with chefs. They say things like microwave. Microwave is the same reason we all have to pretend it's pronounced shiitake mushrooms. Come on. If you eat enough of them, it's ache, innit? Let's have a look what we've got going on here. All right, let's have a look. Could you tell me done that one simultaneously at the same time? Thank you for spotting my tautology. Is that Welsh? Well, yes, lovely. Brit's here. Hello, Brit. Chris is waving to Brit probably, or to me. It's doing different. Oh, number 2. Brit says microwave sales will rocket. Oh, and that's Ems. Ems is telling us that's how. Oh, there's accents on that one. I can do accents. Hello, I'm from Russia. So. You're up to date with that. What else have we got in the front pages, actually? We'll move on to I suppose we've got to deal with the actual one. Trump strikes a deal with Greenland. Although, before we get on to that, there is this piece down the bottom, which, again, we didn't get to talk about yesterday. Part of the Davos speech, I think this was, wasn't it? Trump said that we'd all be speaking German with a little bit of Japanese if it wasn't for America. And he said that as an insult to Europe. Part of Europe is speaking German. Part of Europe probably wanted more people to be speaking of German. Do you know what I mean? Read the room. You'd all be speaking German, and we wouldn't. Come on. Even if they would have won, somehow we still English would have won. But so back to the stop story. Trump strikes this Greenland deal. It's a terrible picture. This is a better one, isn't it? Trump hails Greenland deal for all NATO nations, and it seems to be that he's ended up getting what he already had. So the rights to put military bases there, military bases that are effectively sovereign, not having sovereign control over Greenland, that remaining with what it should be with the Greenlandish at some point. Let's hopefully they get a vote on that. The only thing is possibly rights to dig for some of the rare minerals. You could have had those anyway if you'd have done a deal, and maybe he's really clever. And knowing that the soil that these military bases are built on will be American sovereign land. If you can put those military bases over where you're about to dig, that's when this will be really smart. Other than that, I think NATO's have pulled a blinder, haven't they? They gave him what he already had, and he thinks it's a win. In fact, you know what? I shouldn't even say this out loud. Thankfully, I can say it on my channel because no one watches, but I don't want anyone to raise this. If you're on telly later on, anyone doing some sort of news review thing, don't say this bit out loud. Don't point out that Trump's got what he already had, and therefore this is not a win. Let him think this is a win. Otherwise, they're going to kick off again. There's going to be troops on the ground. There's going to be troops on the ground anyway. Boots on the ground. Troops are mainly on the ground. Apart from the Air Force. You're up to date. What's happening here? Can we put Trump in a microwave, says Brit. I don't think he'd fit. Shalom. Are you taking the mick out of my accents? And a lot of Swiss speak German. They do. And this is the accent they do it in. Irial. Is that? Trump's gone to Iceland. He flipping did as well, didn't he? To be fair, though, I make that mistake all the time. Not the shop one next year. I get confused because they're both roughly up there and green and icy. It's the same format of the name, isn't it? Something land. He says sitting in England. All right, well, fair enough. I do get confused between those sometimes as well. I'm worried they get confused. They might have military bases over it. They'll be taken over. They're just getting confused. What else is on the front pages? I think the 1 in 4 pupils things we'll deal with that later. It's in the news stories. Oh, this one. In the Daily Mail, why the Beckhams took such an intense dislike to Brooklyn's wife, Nicola, because of the family. This one's easy. I thought we guessed this straight out of the traps, didn't we? It's because she's the daughter of a billionaire. That means at the wedding, the scummy family were the multimillionaire Beckhams. That's why they're here. It's obvious, isn't it? Imagine for a second that you are Victoria and or David, and you've humble beginnings, or, you know, it's not like her dad drove the worst car ever. We learned that from the documentary. But what you end up with is a situation where you work hard and you do some football and you pretend to sing and you work really hard and you do some dancing and you sell pictures of your bottom. That's David, because the pants. And then you get other deals, watches, all this. You work your backside off to become not just millionaires, multimillionaires. You make an absolute ton sending pictures of your wedding to magazines. You are minted. Everyone around you is not as successful. You were in the Spice Girls and you are the richest of the Spice Girls. Rich Spice, which actually would be a better name, actually, if you think about it. And slowly but surely, you become the pinnacle of all that is around you. And then your son grows up and starts to date. You're like, that's nice. Tell us about his family. And I imagine they were both taking a drink at the same time. Billionaires? You're the poor ones again. I should have turned the volume down for that bit, shouldn't I? I think that's what it is. Do you not think? All that social climbing and you're still the scum at the wedding. If my son ever dates a billionaire, I am better than that. I will not complain at all. So if you are a billionaire, please do try and date my son. Not right now, he's 3. We do actually have from the newspaper this part of some of the coverage of how weird things are is that Brooklyn Beckham calls his wife baby girl or something like that, which I think is a Russian accent. And he has a tattoo of her eyes on the back of his neck. Firstly, I just thought, let's do the second joke first, because someone's going to need to edit this out later. That's going to ruin sex for her when she's taking him from behind. The eyes of judgment, looking at yourself, going, "Oh, what have you become?" Hang on. Right, cut. That won't be in the clip that we put on social media. No one's going to be allowed to watch that. He's got the eyes of the wife on the back of his neck. And I think if I were married to a billionaire, I would definitely have a tattoo of her eyes and a tattoo of her nose and the outline of her mouth, whatever unlocks a phone and gets me into the banking apps. The fingerprint, I'd definitely copy that. I'd have all of the details that could get me access to that money. It feels great. I do not judge that man. Let's have a look. Here we go. Joodles says, no one watches like that. If you had a quid for every viewer on Tuesday's show, you could have bought your new crown and a Red Bull. Damn. Spoiler alert, I did not get £1 from everyone who watched the show on Tuesday. We got the best figures. And I have yet again achieved. Every time I get more viewers, we get less money in the thing. Okay, there's a proportionality there, isn't it? It's hyperbolic proportionality, 1/x. It's not great. Didn't Romeo, Alex, hang on, I've missed one. What does Alex say? Crazy how none of Beckham's son became a footballer. What's the Ali G joke? They're going to become a footballer like their dad or a singer like Mariah Carey. Jules said, didn't Romeo, I didn't follow this, didn't Romeo try football? Oh, so maybe he tried a football. What's he doing these days? Or to put it in the old format, wherefore out there. Alex says, as in professional, like playing now. Yeah, I guess they're not. But come on, would you rather be a footballer judged by the skill of your dad all the time or boffing a billionaire's daughter? With her eyes on the back of your neck to make sure she's never going to suggest that. Actually, that is clever, isn't it? When things get stale and she's like, oh, I've read about this thing you can do that Prince William likes. He played for Inter Miami. Is that a thing? Before going on loan to Brentford. Oh, dear. And before presumably getting stabbed. Britt says, the perfect tat for protection for any prisoners who drop their soap. Yeah. Really non-sexy back tattoo. Good advice. If ever, whenever I go to prison, unsexy back tattoos. I'm with you. My old friend, and in the frame. That's the bit they cut out of the Shawshank, isn't it? I'd like to say the angels left Andy alone, but he had a tattoo. Right. What are we on to next? Have we finished with the front pages? I think we've finished with the front pages. Well, that was hard work. Let's do this bit.
Let's get inside the news.
Let's see what's going on. Oh, this actually, so it was front page, but I'm using it from inside the papers. You might have seen this story. New kids in school use book like iPad. More than a quarter of pupils starting school cannot use books, according to the teachers, and they swipe at them, thinking they're tablets. Part of me thinks, well, look, that's the world we live in. People are going to interact with more tablets than they do with books. So I suppose it's a skill you learn first, but it does seem sickening, doesn't it? That they just presume it's technology. It's not just the young'uns these days. People who are just a bit younger, Gen Zs, I did it. I once had an evening of passion with a woman who was in her 20s, and she kept doing this pinch zoom thing on my penis. Muttered something about, it's getting bigger. I think that's what happened. No, it is worrying, isn't it, that people don't think their kids have to be able to be slightly grown up before going to school. Some of them can't even use the toilet. It's not the job of a teacher to be teaching how to wipe bums, is it? Do you know what I mean? That's not why people go into teach. I know people who, you need to remember, teachers are qualified. They've got degrees. Some have degrees in mathematics. That's not the logs they wanted to try and teach. Dun, 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 dun. Red Bull is working today. Not that it's Red Bull, it's Dragon Energy. Made with real dragon. All right. Quite like this one. Probably shouldn't. Amazon deliverer stole my moggy. Thank heavens. Where's the glasses? Because there are other words for moggy. And other words for stole. You know. Pinched. Never mind. A delivery driver has been accused of stealing a customer's cat. I mean, you don't need the rest of the story. You know exactly what happened. The picture really tells you everything there. They deny it. There is an interesting bit down the bottom. Where is it? Carl of Elland, like Greenland, West Yorkshire, contacted the police and called Amazon to demand an explanation. He said Amazon asked what monetary value we'd put on the cat. How can you put a price on your cat? Simple. You're about to be given money by Jeff Bezos, you idiot. How much do you think your cat's worth? Triple it, buy another f***ing cat. I've got 2 cats. Jeff, Amazon, if you're listening, and let's be honest, you are listening. There is no way someone watching this doesn't have some Amazon smart device, and they're listening. So, Jeff, buy my cat. I'd miss both of them, but the point is you could definitely buy one, and I've got a spare cat. So, buy my cat. I've got a crown to pay for. £800. Chris says, Welsh dragon. That wasn't my Welsh accent. It was my Morgan Freeman impression, although the name Morgan. Joodles, this was Twitter news about a month ago. Sorry, I don't review Twitter, I review the newspapers. Not my fault, is it? Speaking of which, Amanda Holden, and more like Amanda Holden. I don't even wear glasses. Amanda Holden peeled off nude for roast. Wow. Normally you do it for money, but will work for food. No, wait a minute. Amanda Holden has revealed that she once prepared a Sunday roast in front of her family while naked because it was warm. And then in the story, she said, I didn't eat it naked. Well, of course, no, that would be ridiculous. You're not allowed to eat a roast naked, as the kind manager of my local Toby's informed me. But the point is, she was a bit warm. She wanted to cook a roast, so she got naked to make a point, I guess. It also could be a hot flush thing going on. And it did make me think, isn't nature cruel? At the one stage in a lady's life when she starts stripping off naked while cooking is the one time you... well, I don't need to say it out loud, but we all know. You're grateful for the food, don't get me wrong. Probably need to be able to zoom in even more. That's quite zoomed in, isn't it? Brain health is suffering, with just a third of Brits doing puzzles like crosswords. An Alzheimer Research UK study found. Wait a minute, when were we meant to do crosswords? I thought they were like a thing to do if it's fun. You're bored, you do a fun puzzle. Oh, now we're getting told off for not doing it. Eating well, going to the gym. I thought they were the two dumb things we had to do all the time. And now you've got to sit down and do Sudoku like it's some training program. I don't think this is right, actually. Just because you don't do crosswords doesn't mean you don't use your brain pondering on interesting puzzles. I, for example, spend a lot of time thinking, why do I bother? And that question, it's a puzzle, isn't it? So I'm probably quite mentally fit. Where do we get to? Alexa, how much for a cat? That's what Chris said, but I've said it out loud. Has anyone got the answer? You probably have. Austin Powers' quote comes to mind, $1 million. Well, that's how much the people of Greenland are going to get, apparently, as well. I meant to mention this in the story. So we started off with, I will invade Greenland to get Greenland. Then we go down to, other people will get tariffs if you don't let me buy Greenland. And then he ends up giving the people of Greenland $1 million each. This is the worst invasion I've ever seen. Chris says, self-basting, none of your business, sir. What I do in my shed is up to me. It's amazing what she'll do for a Yorkshire pudding. Good evening. A little stuffing. Well, I don't like. I'm moving away from that story. Oh, this one should have been early because it's depressing. Inflation. Inflation's back up. Inflation puffs up at 3.4%. The reason I included this, because stories like this are boring and dull. Chancellor's bid to curb the cost of living went up in smoke after tobacco tax rises helped push up inflation. And it was that bit when I was reading that going, wait a minute, that's a darn good point. I only did a little bit of economics. My degree was chemistry with business studies, and a third of the subsidiary subject was economics. So we did marketing and accountancy as the other two. So I'm no expert when it comes to economics. So I hadn't thought about that part of it. That if you increase tax, you increase price, which will then increase inflation. So, so therefore the reverse of that is possible. So every single time the governments have said, we need to get inflation down, then why don't you cut tax? Even if it's just a temporary measure. We only ever get these temporary increases to things, which are never temporary, but why don't you try temporarily reducing tax? Because now it's in my head as an idea. I like it. Oh, the inflation's gone up. Well, then reduce tax. And that's what we should now be saying all the time. Not in that voice. Just, I've got a new thing. I've got a new angle. Every single time there's an inflation story. Then reduce tax. I think I made my point. Speaking of Reeves in pub only rates fury. Chancellor Rachel Reeves has sparked fury by indicating help over hiked business rates will be limited to just pubs. Look, I suppose if you increase business rates and then give help to, you could just not increase business rates. If everyone impacted by the business rate increase gets help to offset it, you've offset it, just don't do it. There's a lot of paperwork. But there's also a way around this. I like to find loopholes. I can't call myself Mr. Loophole. There's a guy already called that, and he's a lawyer, so he literally would sue me. But I think sometimes the working of my own brain baffles me. Low tax. I think what's happening here is if you're a pub, you're going to get some help with the business rates. What defines a pub? A place that sells beer? You could apply for a license. You don't have to only, but look, pubs also do things like they sell food and they have even events and things. Stand-up comedy gigs sometimes. I've heard that's not a career option. So why don't you lower tax? No. Why don't you apply for a license? Whatever your business does, sell some booze as well. You get the pub offset. Boom. So you're think of a shop, a betting shop. Imagine getting licensed to that. That would ruin lives. But you know what I mean? You get some offset of it. If you're a a coffee shop. Sell some beer in there as well. Irish coffees. Everyone likes them. Not everyone likes that. If you're a creche, if you could sell wine at a creche, so when the parents come and pick up the kids, you'd also sell them white wine, you would make an absolute mint. We have a fridge in our kitchen that the kids call the mummy fridge. And you can guess what goes in there. One kilo tax. So, what's happening over here? It's amazing what you do for self-made on that one. Can't believe I missed the start. Proper memes. Yeah. Where were you? What were you up to? Living a life? We'll have none of that around here. Don't make her cry. Yeah, every single time Rachel Reeves cries, like the markets. Do you know, is she Carrie? Because she cried and the markets dipped. In the film Carrie, she gets upset and like ashtrays fall off tables and then... Is she Carrie? Don't tell her about tax. Wine in a can, says Chris Hood. Classy ladies. And Proper Meme says, I love the temporary road tax of 1904. Yeah, and the temporary income tax to help with that war. Which one? I can't remember. I do think a temporary... You know, I'm onto something. It's almost like I understand why I do get hired to go on telly and talk about the news. This is an important story for us to have a look at. No, wrong one. This is an important story for us to have a look at. Girls' Top Brit List. Most diverse awards in history. Does this fit in this little thing here? Yeah. Pop stars Lola Young and Olivia Dean top this year's Brit Awards nominations, billed as the most diverse yet. Of the nominations, 70% are women or non-binary artists. Is that diverse? Isn't that less diverse than 50% would? Do you know what diverse means? You've got way more than half coming from one group. And that's diverse, is it? Well, let's read on in case it's exactly the point I can make in another thing here. So in the all-important Artist of the Year category, both singers are graduates from the prestigious Brit School. So you've got way more than half being from one demographic and a lot of them coming from a fancy school. Is that exactly not what diversity was? Yeah. You know what I mean? By diverse, you mean just not dudes. I'm not sure I agree with this one. I just put the comments up and didn't read any of them at all, did I? Brits is a girl's name, to be fair. Yep. No, I'm glad I stopped for that. Takeaway top after bad day. Having a takeaway is one of the top treats for folks after a rough day. Okay. It's also a favourite way to celebrate a good day. So I think the point of this story is if you have a bad day, maybe you give yourself chocolate, you get yourself down the old creche, have a bottle of wine. But also, if you have a good day, you celebrate by having a takeaway. Normally, you would do a celebratory food or a commiseration food. Takeaway is both. I think they're missing the trick here. This is just about having someone else cook for you, isn't it? That's what this story is. You just take it away. That's why it's called takeaway. That's what it is. Having someone cook for you is delightful, especially on a hot day round Amanda Holden's house. It's the seventh time you've requested a roast, Steve. Yeah. I just like some stuffing. It's the same joke. I couldn't think of any other food of the plate that's... It's all gravy, doesn't quite work, does it? Some of them about my meat, a dry bird. Actually, there's loads. I could have insulted Amanda Holden in many ways, I forgot to. All right, quick look at this story. The old story. Pork pie. Pork pie. Hundreds of angry pork pie fans, and aren't they all, have taken to social media to complain about the quality of their favourite treat. Customers in the East Midlands, well, Melton Mowbray, they're going to be keen on this stuff. They know what they're talking about. Were left fuming after saying they'd noticed a decline in the standard of pork pies being produced at the family-owned Bird's Bakery. I was let down because mainly pork I was expecting chaffinch. So you think to yourself, grow up. If your life is that precious, me pork pie's not, me fancy pork pie's not quite as good as I thought it. You don't know suffering. What possible story could make you think these numpties have a genuine complaint? Oh, that was a prince. Oh, it's hard being a prince. Not fair. Oh. Let's have a look what's going on over here. Not white men. So you're putting a request in. What's happened? Do you know, man, am I being precious? The problem is you can't even make this argument without someone online being like, oh, you're one of those. No, I like language. I like words. I like meanings of words meaning the thing they're meant to mean. And diverse doesn't mean not white men, does it? It means a large spread. Speaking of which, we're talking about having a roast. Do you know what I mean, though? You can't have 100%, because eventually if you end up with 100% coming from women from the Brit school, it is not diverse. Just because it's not Eton and white men, it's women and Brit schools. The concept of a posh pork pie is lost on me. Well, they are a bit, aren't they? They're not, the Tesco own brand ones that's mainly reconstituted, mechanically recovered meat. Mechanically recovered meat. My brain is now trying to remember the name of the guy in Top Gear who had a car crash. Because that's what the joke would be, wouldn't it? Anyway. Almost Daily is not a very diverse show. It's 100% straight white male. Says you. I don't have any. I got glasses. I don't know why I'd think they'd camp me up. There's only one story left. I don't think it's a big one. What are we looking at? All right. Okay. Well, no, get rid of that one. No, I'll keep that one in. All right. Nuke sub-engineers went ballistic and sparked a mass brawl at a boozy Christmas party. Oh, God. Here's the... I did not have that on my bingo card of the ways in which we die. 2026... I thought Trump's going to start a war. That might wipe us all out. Aliens, they seem to be happening quite a lot. Well, the other ones that's wiping out, AI seems to be doing an awful lot these days. And then you just think, people getting absolutely off their tits on a booze cruise. A booze cruise underwater with nukes. The contractors who provide support services for Britain's nuclear-armed fleet punched holes through the walls of a submarine. I don't think punching through walls is a good idea in general. But if there's one place where you should not do it, two places, submarines and aircraft, right? They also ripped down a Christmas tree. I don't give two flibs about that, do I? But poured beer on a snooker table before being booted out. That's harsh. I mean, if you get thrown out of a pub, that's fine. You get thrown out of a submarine. That is harsh. But it's their own smoke. Said the word smoke. That's where my brain was thinking the next joke. That's going out there to smoke. All right. What's happening? Hammond, but also Flintoff. Yeah. Jewel says, I don't think you need to convince this particular audience who revel in well-placed P jingle the meaning of words matters. Exactly. Pedantic grammar. You say that meaning of words matter. Is it which meaning of words matter? How do you... It's that or which? The difference between a definitive and non-definitive statement. Both, really. Good point, well made. Ems says, it's almost like driving cars really fast isn't a great idea. At excessive speeds, at least. Proper memes defining what really fast means. And absolute cads. What? Good point, well made. I don't know about what, but yeah. So we're nearly done. There's one story about... this one, I'll show you the story. It's a bit too emotional, though. He's the running Mangan. Stephen Mangan loves going for runs. The 57-year-old actor and comedian has revealed he enjoys the sense of accomplishment that he feels after running for up to 3 hours at a time. And I don't want to fess up too much, but I'm so sad about the fact I can't run anymore. And because I was terrible at running. My dad was an actual runner, like competitively in his teens. And I was such a fat nerd that we never really bonded over anything kind of athletic. He loved sports, and I was like, yeah, but I'm quite good at adding up, but in fancy trigonometrical ways. So we didn't really overlap in that way. And then he gets old and he gets ill and whatever. And then I'd take up running later in life. And I was doing it. And then we went on holiday, and I had to carry the daughter around because she's not walking away. And we went up loads of hills. And then I heard this pop. And then I didn't really think more about it, and now I can't run. And so I'm going to have to be one of those bike people, I guess, at some stage. But I admit, and you read the story of going, yeah, that sense of accomplishment. I didn't run for 3 hours. I ain't got time to do anything for 3 hours. I haven't got time to sleep for 3 hours before some Thursday shows. But he told Woman's Weekly, heading out on a 3-hour run is the happiest I am all week. Know your audience. I'm not sure that's what Women's Weekly needs to. So actually, everyone who's read this story is a bit annoyed by it. All right, fair enough. So, where do I get to? This got censored. Engineers were totally atomized. Why is atomized getting censored? But would they be atomized, though, because of the nuclear thing? Because I suppose they'd all get ionized. Ionizing radiation would knock the electrons out of their atoms. But then I suppose if you knock enough electrons out, you break down all the chemical bonds. All right, you'll have that one. Stephen told Woman's Weekly. If ever there was a place where I would boast about my long-distance running, definitely Women's Weekly. That's what they want to hear about. But Steve, you could be a showrunner, TV joke. Yeah, but it's not, I can't, can I? I'm barely clinging on to the one TV station that has me on it. I saw it PM. It says Ems, all right. Why, did he make you a roast? And it wasn't on the stream. What's happening there? Who's sharing pictures in the chat? I think we're basically almost done. Of course, we do move, before we move on, we do have to do this bit.
Here are the plugs where you can see Steve and Helen all this week.
You heard these before. Same as they were on Tuesday, just the ones that I've done. Tonight, Thatcham. Thatcham? I wouldn't touch them. What? No, it's a place. It's near Reading? I'll find out later. It's got an RG postcode, but like an RG18 number. Could be anywhere, couldn't it? Friday, almost tomorrow, 12 p.m. Even though this clearly was not the most prepared show I've ever done, I will also be doing an unprepared show tomorrow, live and loose. I will be riffing through the newspapers and doing something. Talk TV from 7 p.m. Plank of the week, did it yesterday. You never know which jokes they'll keep in. I definitely did some good ones. No, there were laughs. Ben Habib was on the show. And I'll tell you what I've decided I like about Ben Habib. Hen Babib. No, I was right the first time. He gets my jokes. Here's what I've learned about me as a person, is that, I suppose I should put that somewhere. Here's what I've learned about me as an artiste. Sometimes I don't flag post the jokes enough. I'll say a thing. Even Joodles has watched back some of the episodes and said, oh, here's a line that I missed. I am aware I do that. There'll be jokes in there that seem like they're just, some hanging clause or whatever, some bit of a sentence, blah, 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 something like that, and carry on. And that's a joke. And the problem with that style is when I'm on Plank of the Week, everyone's kind of looking at their notes, getting ready for their next bit. It feels like I deliver a joke without flag posting it and people just carry on. But he listened and he thought I did some funnies. I made him laugh. So that'll all be edited out. Let's have a look. I got censored. Oh no, I should finish this first, shouldn't I? And then Oxford. I'm performing in Oxford, which I believe is in Oxfordshire. That one's easier. Saturday, GB News, 6 or 9, newspaper review in the morning. No one's confirmed it yet, but I hope to be on there talking about the news. See if I can get Anne Diamond to wish me a happy Valentine's or something. And then, what else? Steve needs to rejig the stream chat censorship settings, me think. I only have it set up so that you can't say things. No, I don't know how to do that. I will look into that later. Oh, I see. So Ems was saying I saw it, as in it wasn't censored. So are other people seeing messages that I don't get to see? Is YouTube keeping all the insult? Is the chat mainly people having a go at me and I just see the nice ones? That explains the absolute cads bit, doesn't it? Can't thatch 'em. If you can't thatch 'em, join 'em. I think we're basically up to date. Yeah, so I'll go and have a little look at the stream settings. It's a risk. Just let anyone say anything. All right, I'm into free speech, but not when it's about me. We'll get that sorted. Thank you very much I didn't make an advert for Ko-fi, but you know the drill. If there's any spare cash slushing around, I mean, I know there's inflation, but I think we could solve inflation if they temporarily lower taxes. It's not the best catchphrase I've ever had, but it could pay off in the long run. You know what I mean? Not in time for me to do my self-assessment form. The YouTube sidebar chat doesn't censor, the stream chat does. What? All right, I'll look into that. I have to go and start looking at I have to watch my own YouTube channel. Oof. All right. I'll see what happens. Right, thank you very much for all... Hang on. Oh, and there's a comment on YouTube about a math joke. We'll get back into that in a bit. I think I know what that's about. So, thank you very much for partaking. Go to ko-fi.com/Mr. Stephen Allen. It's all down there. Go to the social medias. I'll see you on there. Is Nescafe okay? Are you all making coffees for each other now, are you? I see. I was merely a mere blip in your day. Today, says Britt, today's summer, lower taxes and clothing while cooking. Lower your clothing while cooking, yeah. I don't do that much cooking. So I'd really just have to whip my keks down to microwave something for 3 minutes. When it said, prick the lid a few times, it would be an extra £1. I don't know what we're talking about, but thank you very much. Tomorrow at 12, if you're up for one, we'll do one. I'm off to, I would say get a kit before I go to the gig, but I've accidentally been supping on my dragon. I've been chasing the dragon. Nespresso is the sponsor of the show. I should have got I need to put some fresh water in it. So tomorrow's show, how about we'll sit here, I'll get them the Nespresso on the go. We'll have a little bit of fun time. Sounds dodgy than I meant it to, but I think you get the general gist. Till next time.
Here comes the news with a twist and a grin. Stephen Allen diving in again.
Britain is in the grip of a vomiting epidemic.
Always sure. He'll hit your brain like a lightning spark. Stephen Allen
on slavery.
almost daily.
Investigating
Laughs and facts served up plainly. Your dose of wit is never shady. Stephen Allen almost daily.
Why do you lower taxes?